Hi everyone, Teddy Baldassarre with TeddyBaldassarre.com, and in this video we're looking at a watch from Breitling with the Breitling Superocean Heritage 42mm in green. So if you're not familiar with this channel, this is where we cover watches available for purchase on our website, TeddyBaldassarre.com, as an authorized dealer. So in this video, deep dive on this timepiece, final points of consideration at the end, but also throughout the video, if you have further questions or are looking to buy this watch, check out the link in the description down below to the product page. But without further ado, let's jump into the video, take a closer look at this watch. Probably best known for its authentic ties to aviation timekeeping with legends such as the Navitimer and Chronomat. That said, Breitling also has made substantial contributions to other categories of watch design since its inception. During the 1950s, amidst the advancement of diving, watch brands swiftly were aiming to develop reliable timekeepers that could withstand the brutal conditions beneath the water's surface. This decade was responsible for many legends, including the Rolex Submariner, the Blancpain 50 Fathoms, and the Omega Seamaster 300. Alongside these icons was another that made its debut in 1957, the Breitling Superocean, delivering a distinctive look and stellar water resistance during the period. In the decades to come, the Superocean remained as a pillar of dive watch design and innovation, with chronograph models and ones with boundary-pushing specifications. In the contemporary lineup of Breitling watches, there are a few representations of the Superocean design, including the Superocean Automatic that was just freshly redesigned, the 57 edition that plays off the concave bezel and markers of the original, and in a similar fashion playing off models of Heritage, you have the aptly named Breitling Superocean Heritage. Picking the favorite among the three is down to personal preference. However, the Heritage does deliver some great specs while also featuring a manufacturer caliber from Tudor as a base, in turn adding to the intrigue to the proposition. In this video specifically, we'll look at the green dial 42mm option. So the Breitling Superocean Heritage is available in a variety of different sizes. We are going to be looking at the smallest of the case sizes, which still is a large 42mm in diameter, has a thickness of 14.3mm, and a lug-to-lug of 51.3mm. So in no ways is this going to be considered a small watch. I would say it wears slightly smaller than its 42mm case size, but only by a slight margin. This is going to be a watch that's probably better suited for those with medium to larger size wrists. On top of the clasp is going to be the signed Breitling logo, and typically on these bracelets they can be difficult to size, but Breitling has included smaller size links towards the clasp as well as multiple micro adjustment points in the clasp itself to allow for easy adjustability and to get this perfectly sized up to your wrist. Now, looking at the case finish and architecture, you have a watch that is going to look every bit of its price and complement the eye-catching approach. The pointed lugs are going to angle down towards the wearer and are finished in high polish, extending from the case body, completely obscured when looking head-on. Polishing adorns the vertical side walls, interrupted at 3 by the polished and domed screw-down crown. Deeply cut grooves provide ample grip for time setting without breaking the visually cohesive pattern, thanks to the curved lines leading to the polished dome top with its own elegant Breitling B. And then with that stainless steel screw-down crown and the case back in the screw-down variety, we are going to be getting 200 meters of water resistance. Looking closer at the dial side, we have a crest over the rounded coin edge bezel fixed to the case by several flat head screws. Held within is the high-gloss black ceramic bezel insert, which is going to stick more to earlier Heritage interpretations rather than modern inserts, marking only every 5 minutes in white with a triangle at 12 holding its own lume pip. The 120-click unidirectional bezel provides excellent audible and tactile feedback and is really a joy to operate. Protecting the dial is a sapphire crystal with several layers of anti-reflective coating that is going to help fight glare and does so remarkably well. Peering through the unobstructed view of that crystal, we have one of the best green dials in the business for a dive watch, in a color that Breitling does exceptionally well. We see this from the pistachio dials to their chronomats, but this is right up there with one of their best executions. In this instance, we are getting more of this deep green sunburst dial, setting the stage for the dial features resting on its surface. At the outermost edge of the dial, we have a white printed minute track that is only going to be interrupted at the every 5 minute points with either numerals at the every 15 mark or lume plots that are going to shine in tandem with the other lumed elements of the dial. Taking one step inward, we have applied and faceted hour markers working in tandem with that large Breitling B of being the only raised elements of the dial. From there, we have printing across the board at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock with attention I'll call to the Superocean with its very interesting script. And at the 6 o'clock position, a symmetrically positioned date window featuring a white date disc with black text on top. At center, we have a 3-hand stack with a simple stick second hand, a sword minute hand, and then a broad arrow hour hand. In terms of the performance of the loom, I would say it's quite good, but not on the same level of the competition that you're going to find in this price range. So do keep that in mind if that is a big point for you when considering a dive watch. Now we get to one of the more unusual and unexpected points about this watch if you're not familiar with it, and that is that it's going to use a Tudor caliber on the inside. Now, this is one of the rare instances where we see brands exchanging movements with one another. The B01 chronograph movement is available in the Tudor Black Bay Chrono, and then in turn, here we have the MT5612 that is going to be inside this Superocean Heritage. So this is an in-house 3-hand movement that is produced by Kinesi, the movement manufacturing arm owned partly by Tudor. In general, this is going to take the entire premise from the MT5612, but then it's going to be modified by Breitling. The most notable point in its modification is going to be its added finish to the bridges. This movement looks more high-end. It has a Côte de Genève finish across the bridges as well as the rotor, compared to the blasted finish that you're going to get with the MT5612 out of the box. The movement ticks away at 28,800 vibrations per hour, 4 Hertz, still having 70 hours of power reserve, so very stellar there. Has an Inkelbach shock absorbing system, COSC certified, but in this case does have a Niverox balance spring rather than a silicon balance spring. Given that it is a COSC certified movement, you are going to get a caliber here that's going to run at worst -4 to +6 seconds a day in terms of accuracy. Anecdotally testing this watch that we have on hand here, it was running well within that standard of only just 2 seconds off of perfect time a day. So in general here, looking at the specifications again at this caliber, 28,800 vibrations per hour, 4 Hertz. It does feature hacking and hand winding, hacking stop in the seconds when you pull the crown to the farthest position, and again, a 70-hour power reserve. So now let's unpack looking a little bit deeper at some of the drawbacks as well as the pros for the Breitling Superocean Heritage. Now, I'll begin with just saying the loom is not the greatest, but that's not the main point I want to bring up here when talking about some of the drawbacks. The main one I want to talk about is just the sizing options available for the Superocean Heritage. There is a variety of watches that you have available to you as a watch buyer, and I am a huge believer that we should have watches that accommodate the variety of wrist size out there. 42 millimeters being the smallest, I think, is probably not going to cut it for most people out there. This is for a medium to larger wristed individual, most likely, unless somebody really likes a watch of this size. It's not a size to be afraid of. If you are on the fence, definitely try it on before you write it off. That said, I do think 42 millimeters being the smallest size is going to be a drawback for this piece. And the only other point that I'll bring up is the bracelet does fall slightly behind some of the build quality of competitors in the price range from Omega as well as Tudor. But now we shift into the pros, and the first thing that I want to bring up here is that this is a design style that is 100% Breitling, that they can own, historically impactful design, and being one that I would say is in the top 3 leaders of luxury dive watches in this price range. The case is well finished, the dial is well finished, it looks phenomenal across the board. As I mentioned, a green dial from Breitling is one of the best colors that they utilize, and with this sunburst finish, imagine this watch in the sun in a summer day. It's just a recipe for a great look across the board. Despite some of the drawbacks on the bracelet, it still is well done for a bracelet of this style. And then finally, this movement and being a Tudor caliber in this exchange of technologies, one of the rare instances where we see this in the industry, and the movement they're getting is going to be robust. It operates at 4 Hertz, 28,800 vibrations per hour, still getting 70 hours of power reserve, and being COSC certified. With this being said, I think it creates a proposition within Breitling's busy catalog that is overlooked, but also in turn is probably one of their most compelling watches, maybe falling underneath the shadow of legends like the Navitimer. But if you look at maybe some of the most value-packed and interesting watches that Breitling is making in the contemporary lineup, this has to be near the top of the list, and I love it in this green dial. All right, guys, that's all we have for this video. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Really do appreciate all of that. And also, if you are in the market for this watch, we do have it available on TeddyBaldassarre.com. TeddyBaldassarre.com is a full authorized dealer of over 30 brands, quick and fast fulfillment, dedicated customer support, and a full factory warranty for all the products that we offer. Also, if you're ever in the market, please visit us in Cleveland, Ohio at our watch boutique. And further, how we're able to produce all the content on our main channel is through selling watches. So if you are in the market for a watch, we'd love to have your business. Allows us to keep doing what we're doing here. We love what we do. But guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well, and I will see you all very soon.